Podcasts, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the podcast.
There are 4 lights!
Its 5-year mission to explore strange, familiar worlds, to seek out new listeners and new civilizations, to boldly go where most nerds have gone before. Join Matt and Shirley on their 5-year mission with a different guest each week as they talk about an episode of Star Trek, from the original series through Enterprise. They'll cover every episode, eventually.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to There Are 4 Lights! I'm Matt, and I'm here with Shirley, and we are joined by Cullen Bricker of the Cult Cinema Cavalcade. I got it right the first time. Yes.
You did. We went over a few times before the show.
So tell us about your podcast, what you're kind of doing there.
Each episode we take a different movie and we take something from cinema's past that may or may not be considered a cult classic. We've done a whole bunch of different ones. Well, the first one we did was The Wizard of Speed and Time, which was a special effects, a stop motion masterpiece, I guess you could call it. Like, even the live action was stop motion. It was nuts, but it was very good. And then we've also, what was the last one we did? We did Deathstalker, a sword and sorcery movie where it's the most stereotypical, like one of those movies that you can think of where the hero is a big muscly man that brandishes a sword and there's magic and there's so much skin in it. And it is maybe I don't know if it's the most objectified women have been in any of the movies we've watched, because women are not treated well, is what I will say for this podcast. It was, not our choice. Well, I mean, the movie was our choice, but not our choice as to what happened in the movie, unfortunately. But we go through that and talk about it, and some people might not know about these things. So I guess the goal is to entertain as well as inform about some of these
right on.
gems.
Have you watched Fido yet?
Fido, we have not watched Fido.
Because I will tell you, that movie is awesome.
Yeah?
It's really good. And
Yeah.
Billy Connolly is phenomenal.
Yeah, I have not watched it myself personally. I don't know if that'll be on the show or not. We have a list of things that we're going to go through, and things pop up, from time to time.
Yeah.
I know I'm trying to think of some stuff that we did, like Dangerous Men. I don't think that was initially on the list. That was a movie that was shot in the late 70s, the early 80s, the mid 90s.
Oh, wow.
And it was released like in 2002, 2003.
Oh, well, that sounds like wow.
Yeah. The movie is a mess. Even more than you think it is. The main character of the movie is like gone for the last at least 20 minutes or so. It's just like she's arrested and then she's nowhere to be seen the rest of the movie.
So hold on, it took 30 years to make this movie?
Yes, he kept losing funding and then getting more funding, and then just from time to time he would shoot when he could. And
nice.
It's the quality you think it is. You can tell like what time period is being shot. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you got even if it's the same kind of camera, you're going to have different quality of film.
Sure.
Like there's no way you could keep the same quality. It'll let you like stocked up on film, but that's the expensive part.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this guy, his name is John Rad. Is his name?
Wow,
he is.
That's an
awesome
name. That's very rad.
Yeah, he is Iranian, and he might be insane. He is. I've seen some interviews with the guy, and I'd be scared to be in the room with him.
Oh wow,
he looks like he is like legitimately mentally unstable, and like he's been dead for a few years now, and his family is. I don't know, either they're scared of him or scared of his past or something, because they will not say his actual name.
So is this like Johnny?
He will not be named.
Yeah, exactly.
Is this like Johnny Wiseau crazy in the eyes? Crazy?
Tommy, sweetie.
No.
Tommy Wiseau.
It might be Tommy. I don't know.
It's Tommy. He is, he's not like eccentric crazy. He's like legitimately like, I'm not sure.
Suicide bomber crazy? Should I even say that?
We're
gonna have to bleep that out.
No, not suicide bomber crazy. This is a man that, his daughter, was smiling at a man, just smiling, just being polite. And she came home one night and he was sitting, in the living room holding a gun at her, saying to never do that ever again, or he would shoot her. That's the man that directed this film.
Wow. So,
talk about protective.
That's an interesting, man that put out an interesting movie.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's
Keyword.
Yes.
Dangerous Men.
Dangerous Men is the name of it.
Yeah, but the main character is a woman.
The main character is a woman.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, her fiance is killed, and she was going to be accosted by other men, and because of this, she decides she's going to kill dangerous men.
Oh, okay.
So-
I mean that's
So,
okay.
And, I know that sounds simple, but there's so much more to it than that.
Kind of sounds like that Jodie Foster movie.
Yeah, but this has some other gems in it. I don't want to give too many things
no
away,
spoilers.
but there's there's a knife in an unusual place is what I will say.
Oh, yeah. No, you're not supposed to put stuff there.
Well,
Yeah.
Well,
But I mean, but you don't know what unusual place that is.
you're not supposed to put knives there, I'm betting.
Yeah, well, anywhere really in the human body is where you're not supposed to put knives, to be fair.
So it's Cult Cinema Cavalcade.
Yeah.
Right? Ooh,
You're correct.
That's a name.
it's the CCC, not to be confused with the CDC.
And that is an episode that you can get from them. It looks like a relatively recent episode.
Which
Yeah,
episode?
that was
Say
like-
the episode number.
It doesn't have an episode number.
You
They
guys
don't
don't
number
have
theirs.
episode numbers? It's the Dangerous Men episode.
That's right. We don't need episode numbers because each one is its own little gem.
There you go.
I don't know. We're I think we're at 20 episodes right now.
Yeah.
And we come out like every other week with a new episode. We had a bonus episode a couple weeks ago for the Friday the 13th. Every Friday the 13th, we'll be doing a different Friday the 13th
Nice.
movie.
Oh, nice.
Until the new Friday the 13th movie comes out in January 2017.
We'll keep
Are
doing
you
it
serious?
past that. Well, if they decide to actually
Oh,
go through
God.
it, that they've tried to get that off the ground multiple times.
Well, it was officially going to be released this May, this month, and then it got pushed to January because we
That's
do
Jason, right?
no Friday the 13th.
Friday?
Michael?
Yes, no, he's
No,
Halloween.
It's Jason.
Michael Myers is Halloween. Friday the 13th is
It's
Jason Voorhees.
Voorhees. Got it.
Yeah,
You're a real cinemaphile.
I don't do horror movies. That would be pretty much why.
That's all right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we've talked for just a couple of minutes, no,
You don't have to use all of it. Just use the meat.
We're gonna use all of it.
right.
Yeah.
Gotta fill up the show somehow.
Right?
Basically.
Right.
We are talking about a Star Trek, the original series episode, A Taste of Armageddon. This is the 23rd episode in production, or the 24th episode if we're on Netflix. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is also episode 23 and production episode 23, which means, once again, we're matched up. It's a miracle.
That Roddenberry, some kind of wizard.
They did some weird stuff in the 60s.
Well, that's before anyone kept track of this kind of thing. They
Yeah.
didn't care.
Yeah. Shirley, go ahead and read
Yes.
your read thing.
Okay. So, in this episode, David Opatoshu.
Opatashu.
Opatashu? Mm-hmm. All right. David Opatashu, who is Anon 7, stars as the ruler of a seemingly peaceful space nation whose reluctance toward establishment of the diplomatic relations draws Captain Kirk into the center of an interplanetary war. The unexplained you're gonna have to edit that out. The unexplained hostility of leader Anon 7 baffles Kirk, who is denied permission to deliver Ambassador Fox, who is played by Gene Lyons, to the planet Amir. Isn't it 7?
Isn't what 7?
Wasn't it Amir 7?
The name of the planet.
Iminar.
No, it's 2.
Iminar. Okay. Anyway.
3? 2 or 3? I don't know.
I don't know. To the planet
I'm
Iminar.
swooning from the research.
For a top-level diplomatic conference. Kirk and Spock decide to investigate and soon find themselves prisoners of war in a simulated but deadly conflict between two planets.
It's Eminier
Minier
7.
7.
I
See,
have it in
knew
front of
was
me. I just
7.
had to wait for it to load.
Sure, all right.
7.
That's what
Okay.
I'm going to go with.
As in Return of the Archons, we witness the pitfalls of man submitting to the machine. And it just says new here, a disguised anti-war statement. But it wouldn't be because Roddenberry put anti-war statements in a lot of his
That's
other episodes.
What's the whole series that, like,
Right.
hey, there's no more war?
No, well, it's not the only thing in the series. There's some, like, let's not be racist. But it is, let's not go to war, let's not be racist, let's quit being a bunch of jerks. Like, that really is...
Well, there was no let's not be sexist.
No, I mean, women had jobs.
It was let's not be 60s sexist.
Yeah, that's,
okay.
I mean, you have to look at it in that way. For the 60s, yes, this is very,
50s and 60s.
Yeah,
this is not sexist at all. Still very sexist.
Yeah, there's a black woman on the crew. She's an officer, and even on the away team on this one, there was an Asian woman, and she had lines.
Yeah.
Yes.
She had more lines than the other crew members that landed that were not Spock or Kirk.
Okay, can I say a funny right up front?
Well, go ahead.
Okay, when at the end of the scene, at the end of the episode, at the end of the episode, like when they're hiding in the hallway, do you see how she hides? She hides in the corner.
She just balls up.
Yeah, she hides in the corner.
Well, she sticks her head behind Spock like she's
and
an
Spock
ostrich.
is standing right in front of her. I was like, "What is that?" It was
pretty ridiculous. I liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, it was.
We did get our one of our first Federation, United Federation of Planets. That was kind of cool. That's pretty groundbreaking. Like, they actually call it that in this instead of we're from Space Command or whatever, like, generic thing they call it before.
From the Super Friends of Space.
Yeah, we did
get the Federation Center.
Yeah, I mean, it's been. We did get some more Vulcanians though, which is unfortunate. I know Cullen, you have not been watching along, but he's yet to been a Vulcan. He's a Vulcanian.
Oh, okay.
He speaks Vulcanian.
Yeah, he also speaks, which I could buy. At least him speaking Vulcanian, but he's like, I'm a Vulcanian.
Yeah.
Like, no, you're not.
No.
Sounds stupid.
Yeah.
It sounds like you're part volcano. That's a bad name.
Huh. That's interesting.
I've always thought that.
Oh, yeah, because it's all
that
boiling
never
below
come-
the surface.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I could see some, like, if you look at the race, wow, this is going to get deep into the Vulcans. If you look at the race as a whole, like, they shut their feelings down, but they're still there, so it's all boiling below the surface all the time, kind of like a volcano.
Do you guys know anything about the planet?
A Vulcan?
Yeah.
It's a desert planet, a unhospitable planet,
Right, like
Right.
a volcano.
a bug planet.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We didn't. Wasn't in the J.J. Abrams, the first one. There was some volcanic action going on.
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Of course, the planet was also being ripped apart, but still, we saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is
So,
true. That's
Vulcan
very
is
true.
not very hospitable.
No, it's a ugly planet.
That's why they're angry all the
A
time,
bug
and they
planet.
have to
I'm going to say it again.
figure their baggage out.
Yeah. So we got a little bit of we're still getting the world together. I don't think Roddenberry really had it together.
He had the basic concept, everything. Yeah, I'm sure he didn't have like a Bible for this stuff until later.
Well, but we see this in and I will get there, listeners at home, and we're almost there. But we see this in season 1 of the Next Generation too, because Worf like growls a lot and howls and like there's a lot of weird Klingon stuff going on in season 1.
Yeah.
It calms down quite a bit by season 2. And then from then on, they actually build the Klingons into something that's worthwhile.
Well, it's also kind of strange that they were doing that kind of stuff because that kind of Klingon, they were already in the movies, so they should have had some kind of basis for how they act.
Right.
Yeah, it's really weird how that all, which I don't know how deep into Star Trek you are either, Cullen. I just invited you along because you were on another podcast and I thought we'd,
Yeah, he'd
bring you along for the ride.
He sent me a Facebook message saying, "Do you like Star Trek?" I was like, "Yes."
Yeah.
So they actually explain away the difference between the original series Klingons and the Next Generation Klingons in an episode of Enterprise.
Was it Enterprise? I thought it was. Well, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Which ties it all back to, you guessed it, Khan.
What, Khan did it?
The non-ridged forehead Klingons were a group of Klingons that were augmented using the augments blood from the augments from Khan and his group and others like him. But
That's why they're so strong.
But that caused them to become sick with a deadly virus, and anyone that got that virus lost their ridges as part of curing that virus. It's ridiculous. It is really ridiculous.
Whoa, that sounds like a very...
And thanks to Dr. Phlox, They were saved.
They've saved.
Which sounds made up, but it's an actual character's name.
Yeah, and they do actually, they do reference it in Deep Space Nine, during the Time with Tribbles episode.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna mention. Yeah, that they asked, like, what happened? Was like a genetic mutation? And Worf just says, we don't have to talk about it.
We don't talk about that. Which, I like that hand waviness. That was very nice.
Yeah, they acknowledge it. It's like, we've got another story to work on. We don't.
Wow. I think it's funny because when TNG first begins, not funny, but whatever. Interesting. When TNG first begins, like his origins are very pronounced, but as he goes through the series, they
they do lighten up a little bit.
Calm down.
He also becomes the sickness.
Yeah.
I was like,
he's got the sickness for Troy.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Everybody had this, whatever. Okay, we're not going there.
She might have worn him down. That's what happened.
So
emotionally.
We also see a lot of other stuff going on in this. We see a very strange world with human aliens. I always dislike the human, but also alien. I would like them to be different in some way. But then I remember all of the Next Generation episodes where they're like, they're aliens. You can tell because that one little bump on their nose. That's how you know they're aliens.
It's Bajoran.
No, there were others that just had a bump on their nose or a ridge on their forehead or something along those lines.
They've got really bushy eyebrows. Like,
right. Eyebrows that turn into hair. They just like go all the way over.
Yeah.
Those are the Venetians. What the heck are you talking about? No, I don't.
Is that where we get our blinds from?
That's what I was
They'd comb it down so that way they couldn't see.
Right. It's how they sleep at night.
Yeah. They don't have eyelids, so they have to do that.
That's terrible.
See, that's more interesting than just a bump. It's like,
yeah.
Some of those guys like, I got like a skin rash. I'm just having a bad day.
Yeah, so we get some very interesting bits there. We get the aliens and that are taking wars or they're in a war that isn't really a war.
It's gone on for 500 years.
Yeah, I do like that Kirk gets to fight quite a bit in this, and it wasn't clear that it was a stunt double the whole time. I'm not sure if it was or not, but there have been some other episodes where we're like, oh, look at those two stunt doubles punching each other.
No, I've seen like the entire. This is nothing new to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like when he's like, I don't remember the order of these things. I watched them in a lot of order, but when he's fighting like Zorn, like you can really, it's like, okay, that's clearly a different human being.
Yeah. There's an episode
in the engine room
when they fight in engineering where it's like, oh look, they're two standing together. We just cut to another camera and it's clearly two different guys.
Yeah, it's zoomed way out from above.
Yeah, but this one at least looked good. Like that was some good physical acting and some good punching. It didn't look cheesy and overdone. It was enjoyable. We got to see, some guns that don't fire anything. Things just explode and catch on fire. That's always good.
Well, I mean, like an actual, like gun like we would have. If you could like see it coming out, it's like, well, then you could dodge it. But if you can't see it,
yeah. And they were disruptors. That is official. Disruptors.
So this is the thing that I had a question about. The Romulan disruptors and these disruptors are totally two different kind of disruptors, right?
Well, it's like saying
because the Romulans, you can basically see their firearms fire.
But I mean, it's like saying that is a revolver and that is also a revolver. They're two still very different weapons.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I mean, that's the way I look at it. It's a type of gun.
Because this is like an MP burst, an EMP burst, and the other disruptors are like plasma based.
Yeah, I mean, just think about it. Like the Klingons have different transporters than like the Federation. It's still a transporter. It's just different technology.
Takes your body apart differently than.
That's right. One's clear sparkles and the other one's red sparkles.
Yeah. Wow. So one of the other things that I really kind of stuck out to me is that their diplomat was kind of a giant jerk. Like hi, I'm the diplomat. Do what I say because I said so. Like, how are you the least diplomatic person on the ship?
Yeah,
but you're in charge of going down to the planet and fixing things.
Yeah.
Like,
how can a diplomat be in charge of a starship? That doesn't wash with me.
No. Well, I mean,
especially if he's not. I don't think he's part of the Federation. Was that made clear or not?
It was. He's working for the Federation at least. Right. So it sounded like
I know he's working with them. I just didn't know if he was like actually a part of the Federation.
And I think at some point in time, I can't remember when, but they actually say that diplomats have the ranking of certain types of officers in Starfleet, but I don't remember what type. I didn't do my research on that.
It is a military vessel, so hypothetically, the military works for the ruling body. The ambassador works for the ruling body. They could put him above the ship by regulation. I don't know. He quoted a bunch of regulation.
Yeah. Well, you know what makes science fiction exciting? Politics.
Yeah. Well, hey, I mean,
that's what we learned from episode 1.
We did get General Order 24. That was awesome. General Order 24. That was so vague. Like, execute General Order 24. Like, I was waiting for the clone troopers to kill all the Jedi.
That's exactly what I thought. So, and I wonder if that was, that's just like, we need something, some kind of spooky thing for him to say. Like, I don't know. How many chips are on the table? 24. General Order 24. Write it down.
Right.
It's 5 o'clock. Let's go home.
How many drinks has Roddenberry had today? 24. General Order 24.
Well, what is that?
Sorry, I got too excited.
I'll not Cullen caused some vibrations.
I was
Sorry
like,
about that.
We did get to see most of the crew. We were
I
missing
thought
some
you were going to
Sulu.
say Moses. I was like,
Yeah,
where was Moses?
There was someone that was at the two guys at the helm of the ship were neither Sulu nor Chekhov. They were just a couple of guys.
Chekhov doesn't come in until season 2.
Right,
So that's why we're missing him. But,
But
yeah,
wasn't DePaul the guy that came back? Wasn't he in a previous episode and he's the guy that came back
I'm looking.
at the
I
helm?
know who you're talking about.
So that would be
Yeah.
amazing if they actually had.
Oh, no, I
secondary
believe
characters come
Lieutenant
back.
DePaul, this is his second or third episode.
Right.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. I mean, they're on a 5-year mission, so we should
Right.
see some
the
of the.
same people over and over
Well,
again.
unless they die. Yeah, he was in Arena and in Taste of Armageddon. He's one of the few that lived through Arena. Yeah, but he was in both that and this one. He had, wow, he's getting up there in age. He's at 72 now.
Well, they're all up there, and Shatner's in his 80s. I
Yeah, I
believe.
guess that's a good
no,
point.
he is not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for 80s, he looks really good.
He's got a lot of
He's
plastic
drinking the-
surgery going on.
He just fills in the wrinkles with more Twinkies. That's
He's
what he does.
he's doing the same thing that Marissa
Dude,
Torme
that's what
is doing.
Twinkies do to you.
Oh yeah,
We're going out and buying a box of Twinkies.
No, that's not what Twinkies do.
delicious preservatives.
We did get Barbara Babcock, who as Mia 3. Everybody on the planet had a name, which is weird.
And a number instead of
yeah,
like
a name. That's what I meant. Yeah, a name
Well,
and a
I
number.
mean, when you're gonna die at any given moment because of a computer dot.
Yeah, that was the actual plot of the show is interesting that they're just fighting like a simulated war with computers, and that's
Right.
That's interesting, but like a few minutes into it, I thought like, wait a minute, that means that these two groups of people had to like come together and say, all right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna fight, but we're not gonna fight. We're gonna use the computers. It seems to me that maybe they should have just talked it out instead of this gentleman's agreement with computers.
If you're going to come all the way to
like-
the agreement to not fight a war but just kill each other off slowly, couldn't you just take the next step and decide not to fight the war?
Exactly.
That's
Like, we're in the same room. Let's just figure it out. Like, what was the war anyway when someone stole a sandwich and the other race got angry about it?
right. And I guess what I didn't understand is, I mean, how did they never filled in how they counted people dying?
Well, it was a certain area. That's just a general population thing. If they hit a certain city area and the explosion is 7 city blocks, they figure out how many people live in that 7 city blocks. That's who dies.
No. I understood that part.
Oh.
But what is there a counter in the
I see.
disintegrator?
Like, how did the other planet know if they disintegrated everybody or
if
not?
they disintegrated everybody or not?
It's like, oh, you got us. Don't go in the disintegrator. They won't know.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, over 500 years, you don't think someone would figure that out and is like, you know what? Screw it. Let's go get them.
Or let's do something else that's more productive.
Yeah. Like, they agree just to send people into the disintegrator. Like for what? So it doesn't inconvenience the architects and like builders? Is that?
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, it just it seems like there's a huge plot hole there in regards to
Well,
Why?
strange alien races. I'm just gonna chalk that up to strange alien races.
I guess.
Yeah.
Like maybe if they were like really really weak, like physically, like we
Yeah.
can't lift a lot of stuff. This is just, we hate each other apparently. So this is how we figured it out.
Right.
Yeah, it was very weird.
Or maybe they could just live underground, so that way they're not getting bombed. That way they're,
Right.
I don't know.
How many disintegration booths do you have to have? I mean, they had at least 12, but that's like 500,000 people in 24 hours. Like, that's a lot.
And they're only putting one in at a time, as far as we can tell.
And as terrible as this sounds, like, you could probably do groups of
Yeah.
people. I mean, it's not a tiny room. You could put 3 or 4 people in there.
Yeah.
Let's do this economically.
Or just build a room that stores more than a, person or 3, You can have a whole, all right.
Yeah, but then you're getting into barbarism. I
Right.
mean, that's like genocide.
No.
You mean like...
No. I'm with her on this
Yeah,
one. Disintegrate one person
like
at a time.
that.
That's perfectly civil. Do a whole group. That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, and you don't want to be a barbarian like Kirk, like what Anon 7 called Kirk.
Yeah, he's a barbarian.
Yeah, and when I heard that, I thought, you know what, buddy? Here's some, they say in this episode that the people in this system have never been outside of their star system. Like, Kirk and his people have been
Right.
They've seen all kinds of stuff. These people have never seen Jack.
Anything.
Yeah, he's
You
not...
would think they would want to learn
And
from
who just-
other
Yeah.
Who just fires at spaceships that end up in orbit? Like, that is not a good way to wage war. Like, the
Yeah.
ship has been destroyed, guys. I know it's still up there, but it's been destroyed. Like, who does that? Like, that's not...
Yeah.
Like, you don't know who that is. Maybe you incite the bigger problem. Like, why would you do
exactly.
Because if it was Klingon, whoo,
Yeah,
it would be, it
that?
would
The
be
Klingons would
over.
be like, I'm sorry, the ship is still up there? No.
Yeah, well-
no one died.
Well, wasn't part of the reason that they wanted to bring these people into the Federation is so many people so
The
many
ships kept disappearing in that
Yeah,
sector.
so they're like, we got to have a base here and get along with these people, figure out what the heck
Right.
is going on.
Yeah.
Right.
But it also you also think someone just would have I don't know, called them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and they tried and they were like, don't
Right.
come here. And then the douchebag.
They don't even have to say don't come here. Okay, we won't come there. Can we just
Right.
ask what's going on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why are all of our ships disappearing? But
You know-
I would think somebody else would have figured that out before Captain Kirk.
Well, no, that's why they
how
sent.
many ships would
That's why he's the captain of
disappear?
he's the captain of the best ship in the fleet.
Yeah, well, they did send an ambassador to figure this out, and he was the best ambassador ever. Not ever. Never.
ever.
Not once.
There was one thing that he did right. After they shoot at the ship, and Scotty is I'm gonna fire back. He's like, no, look, don't shoot yet. Let's figure out what's going on. All right, that is one thing that you're right
Yeah.
about. And also when Scotty's saying what the best ambassador is a fully
Charged phaser bank.
when I heard that, I was like, he shouldn't be in charge.
He really shouldn't.
You know, if you look at his hair, I think that's where our first problem is. Scotty's hair has been bothering me this whole season.
It's pretty
What?
slick.
like that whole weird comb, and then there's this weird part, but it's a thick he ripped hair out to make that part. It's like he drew a line and was all those hairs die. Yeah.
Well, maybe,
It's just terrible.
Maybe
Okay.
that's fashion in the 22nd century.
Well, it definitely was in the 50s and 60s because that's a military haircut. My dad had it his whole life.
Oh,
there you go.
You're right. I'm sorry.
This
I
is
was
very,
like, what's wrong with his hair? That's the way my dad's was all the time. I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow. Oh, so the episode was not bad. As much as we're ripping on it, the episode itself was not bad. It was pretty well written, and it flowed well. It didn't slow down too much.
I was never bored. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, we've ripped on it pretty bad. It has
script
some,
was
it has
pretty
some
good.
things to
Well,
rip
it's
on,
like,
but
you know.
There's the one major thing of why would these two groups of people agree to this?
yeah.
Right.
But if you get past that, I think it's mostly pretty good. It doesn't help that it's sandwiched in between two awesome episodes.
What's next? What's after A Taste of Armageddon?
I cannot remember the name of the episode, but I believe it's the one where they go down to the planet and it's got the pleasure plants or whatever, spray seeds in
and
their
then
face.
yeah.
And then I feel complete bliss and I never want to leave. I cannot remember the name of the episode, but
I love how he's vamping for time.
And the episode.
Trying to help you. I don't remember the name of the episode because it's not as good as the name of this episode. That's one of the things I love the most about it is it's called A Taste of Armageddon.
A taste.
Not complete Armageddon.
Well, you don't want to eat the whole thing. They'll fill you up pretty bad. You just want to get a taste.
Or it's like they're making like a we're making a big pile of doomsday, so you want to put in a pinch of war and a little bit of pestilence and just a taste of Armageddon. You don't want to fill it'll ruin the whole flavor. Just a little taste of it is perfect.
Next episode is This Side of Paradise.
Okay.
And then the previous episode was, Space Seed.
Yeah. Kind of an important episode later on.
Yeah. And I'm been pretty, it's my first time through the original series, so I've been pretty happy. Oh yeah. What? Well, when I was a kid, it was old stuff and Next Generation was on, so.
Still.
And Next Generation comparatively is much faster and more, of a draw-in for a hyperactive kind of world that we lived in the 80s. So it helped quite a bit. I mean, we're looking at 2 decades there in difference in production style.
Yeah, I can understand that. Where it looks like Next Generation is actually stuff in the future, and the 60s is like, well,
hey, look at those switches and knobs.
Yeah, they did their best.
Yeah. I mean,
you know what? When I was a kid, it looked like it was futuristic.
and I can buy that. Like when you were a child, that was before I was a child.
No, it's not that big of a deal.
So I don't know. It never caught on with me, and I never had a chance to really watch it. So I figured this would be fun. That's part of the reason we're doing this whole podcast is because I've never seen the original series, and Shirley has. I made Shirley sit through parts of Enterprise, but not the whole thing, and I refuse to watch all of Voyager.
See, I like Voyager, he likes Enterprise, and I'm just, I love Scott Bakula. I'm just
Scott Bakula's so good.
Yeah, I like Voyager much more than Enterprise. Enterprise just feels forced. I like Voyager.
Well, when you get to the Mirror Universe episode, and you hear the intro music for the Mirror Universe episode from Enterprise, it makes everything else better. It does. The rest of the series feels better.
Well, if you say so. That's you're welcome to it. I'm glad you enjoy it. I'm glad someone enjoys it.
Yeah. Let's touch on some notable guest stars. So, like I said, we had Barbara Babcock. She was a relatively, not at the time, but became a relatively big actor or actress.
Which one was Barbara Babcock?
Mia 3.
Mia 3. Okay, so
she was the main bad guy.
Yeah.
Main woman bad guy.
Yeah, she was the one that was blessed with the romantic lighting.
Yes. Yeah. I mean,
Which I found kind of funny. I mean, I know that they're supposed to highlight the main actress in some way, but every time I saw her in the forefront and the yeoman in the back, I was like, wow, that's such a difference that even in the fore lighting, it was just.
Well, if it's just like her in the picture, then it's like, it's got like a, not foggy, but it's not quite the focus isn't as sharp and the lighting's different. When it's just her, if there's anyone behind her, it's just straight up like a regular shot. So when I saw that, it was like, I wrote it down like romantic lighting and I counted it. It was only once in this one. But if there's any other, there will be future episodes. Right. Just check it out. How many times
we should add that to our list. Romantic lighting.
I thought we called it Vaseline camera.
That works too. That works too. It looks. You're absolutely right.
Well, that's what they did. Is they smeared Vaseline over the.
Is that
lens.
what it is?
Yeah. Because it softens everything up and it gives it almost like a glow because the light hits the Vaseline in such a way.
Sure.
It's kind of disgusting, but whatever. David Apatow, I'm going to go with that. Apatow, was a pretty big actor. He has quite a few movies in his name, including starring in a movie, being a supporting character in a movie with William Shatner in 1958 called, The Brothers Karamazov, whatever.
Were they trying to be Russian?
They were Russian, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
I want to hear William Shatner as a Russian.
Yeah, I'm sure that went really well.
Interesting.
Yeah. And not
known for voices.
Right.
Finally, we had that David Apatow was Anon 7, and then Ambassador Fox was played by Gene Lyons.
He sounds like Lyons.
Lyons.
Isn't that no? Is it really? It's not pronounced Lyons.
It's French. It's Lyon.
That's the
I'm really not making
Shire.
He was in a lot of, small roles in TV shows here and there in the 60s and 70s with Twilight Zone and Alfred Hitchcock and so on.
I was going to say, he looks like an actor that would do that. Yeah.
Yeah. His outfit was terrible.
What?
It was
What?
it was unusual.
It was terrible.
It's kind of Romanish.
His assistant's outfit was way better. I was like, oh, that looks like a spacesuit, like
high-end.
a suit from the future.
Yeah, and also someone that looks like someone of official status. This looked
Yeah.
like I don't know, like someone between jobs is what this looked like. His
like,
neck was huge. It was like the size of like a manhole cover. It was huge.
Yeah, it was a little ridiculous. We kind of had strange races. I mean, we did, but did not. They were human, all but
humanoid.
Human. They were very human. Humanoid is more of like they had 2 legs, 2 arms, and stood upright.
Yeah.
Like Cardassians are humanoid. These are all but humans.
Yeah, so the only difference is the hats, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, these were giant Smurfs.
Okay, so did anybody else think that by the end of the episode we would have found out that these people are from Starfleet? That they just
Oh no,
took over this
not 500
planet?
years ago. That would have put it in the 1700s, and there's no way.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, okay.
The hats were like cones. Maybe this is where the cone heads came from. And that's what they were covering up. No,
Wait.
But Dan Aykroyd's a big Star Trek fan.
yeah,
He's already out of his mind, so why not?
Yeah. The hats were kind of terrible. So I mean, we those hats were just I don't know what they're thinking. They did I was like, are they Smurfs? They're like human-sized Smurfs.
Space Smurfs.
Space
is what they
Smurfs,
were.
Yeah, those hats were terrible.
Yeah.
Just
it's like an Ed Wood alien. Like, how do you can't tell the difference? Like, well, they're wearing different clothes. That means they're
Right.
aliens. Like, no.
Yeah. They weren't the worst thing ever, but they weren't great either. So we got those. We pointed out the things that stuck out. Let's touch on our reoccurring items. Bones didn't say a lot, honestly. He kind of advised Scotty, and then that was it.
Just hung out on the bridge. I've never understood why the doctor is just like, is he just
Hanging
like,
out on
He's
the
got
bridge?
nothing else to do. He's
Yeah, I
just got to
guess.
help people go die in
like,
the
no
disintegrators.
one's sick, so here I am. Like, all right, great.
There isn't any other series that happens, is there?
What, that the doctor hangs out on the bridge?
Right.
Voyager, he can't.
Well, TNG, Crusher has a chair.
Well, but Troy has a chair that Crusher's allowed to sit in sometimes.
Oh.
Yeah.
And her
I
son
thought
is
she
also
was
on
right
the
beside her.
She doesn't have like a
She has
position on there, but neither does McCoy. He just stands around.
Well,
He's just hanging out.
I mean, he does.
Spock doesn't have a chair.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
He's
does
got it
he?
in the back by the viewfinder.
Oh, okay.
Viewfinder thing. The viewfinder.
He never uses it.
Yeah, that's true. The doctor and Voyager couldn't sit on the bridge. Crusher was always up on the bridge though because her son was there. She was very protective. We just didn't catch on to that.
Yeah, she visited, but it wasn't like she was just hanging out.
Well, and
was for a reason.
Pulaski
Yeah.
didn't stick around on the bridge because I'm
No,
pretty sure
she
that Picard
wasn't.
would have murdered her because
Yes.
she was
The
I
worst.
love
the
Pula-
worst.
Why doesn't anybody like Pulaski?
Well,
Because she's a monster. That's
I
why.
love
because
that
she's
woman.
literally the worst. They tried to put in. We'll get into that in season 2 of Next
whatever.
Generation, but they tried to put
Yeah,
in this foil that was not a good foil.
Yeah, I want to be here for that because I want to crap on her as much as humanly possible.
Yeah. And then
Within reason.
You're gonna have to get a Shirley stand-in for that.
I don't think Bashir was ever on in the command. Like he never went up there except to pass through in Deep Space Nine.
Yeah. Well, he had a lot more. Well, I don't know if he had a lot more people. He had a lot more variety to take care of.
Yeah.
Certainly with all the different like aliens coming in and out.
Right.
so.
And then I don't think Dr. Phlox was hardly ever on the bridge. And there was only 4 decks. It's not like he had a lot of other places to go.
Yeah.
But he had a lot of animals to take care of.
he was in the kitchen. No, am I thinking of the
Sick
right?
bay. Dr. Phlox is in sick bay.
Hold on, which one is this?
Enterprise?
Enterprise. Okay, see, that's how much I don't know that.
He was
series.
our first and only alien doctor, just for the record.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by it. We'll get back to our recurring items. Kirk does
This
not
is
get
me lost.
Kirk
Anyway,
does
go
not
ahead.
get the lady, but I think if you put just half of a little bit of effort into it, he would have had that lady.
He's got bigger
was-
things on his mind.
Well, the thing is,
Yeah.
he was stalking her. He's like, "No, you're not going in there."
He
trying
was
to
saving
save you.
saving
He was
her, not
protective.
stalking.
Oh,
He was
good night.
protective.
Yeah.
It's like, if you're too stupid to save yourself, I'll do it.
Spock isn't super logical. Well, I mean, he's logical, but he's not like overly logical. He does say that they were like, "Oh, I'm glad you understand," or "I'm glad you agree." He's like, "I understand. I don't agree."
Yeah,
Which
when
I
they're
thought
explaining. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, when they're just explaining like how the war goes. Yeah.
Yeah. Uhura did nothing other than answer the phone. Answer the phone a lot. That's all she did was really answer the phone.
Are you all right?
Yeah, I want Uhura to do more. I want her to kick butt like she does in the new Star Trek movies, and I know that's never going to happen.
Well, that's all
she
she
does
needs to
fan
do.
dance.
Yes. Oh, I know about the fan
Coming.
dance.
That's the same movie we get Spock nerve pinching a horse. Looking forward to that one.
He studies the anatomy of every living creature, so he knows where the weak point is. Or maybe he just psychically connects with them because he's psychically connected
what was that?
with the guy, the guard in this
Through
one.
the door. I've
Yeah.
never ever seen that.
Do we ever see that happen again?
I don't believe
I
so.
I mean, like,
The thing is, I think they pushed his gift way too far in this
yeah,
one.
no,
Yeah.
he's just like this first season. He's just kind of an ex machina character a little bit. It's like, what do we need? Well, we need to get out of here. So I don't know, make the pointy ear guy do it. Yeah.
I did like that the yeoman was way shorter than everyone else.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
And
like
she had on heels too.
Yeah, I know. And it was like they had like a college or a high school intern running around with them.
Would you like to go for 5 years and get your college degree?
Yeah.
Join it.
Yeah, join Starfleet.
The last thing I want to mention on our reoccurring items is red shirt deaths. We had none, but we did get to see a diplomatic assistant die. He got shot in the gut and he went down, and they never went back for him. They also didn't go back for at the very end of the episode. Kirk is like, "Scotty, we're ready to beam up," but they don't have the yeoman. Like left her behind. They're like, "Okay, let's go." Maybe that's why we don't see the yeoman anymore. He just keeps
She
leaving.
was
them
on the
places.
bridge.
No, oh yeah,
Yeah,
but she
she
was on the bridge
was.
the next scene. But like,
okay.
I'm like, he just calls up and says, "We're ready to go," but she's nowhere to be found. She's not here.
Well, you know, they didn't beam up right
Suspension of
away. So
yeah, suspension of disbelief.
she's on the other side of the camera.
All right, so that's kind of been the A Taste of Armageddon. Out of 5, Shirley, where do you kind of rank this? Give us a little thoughts on it, and give us a ranking out of 5.
Out of 5, I would give it a 2.5.
Okay.
I mean, it was good. It was written good. It was good acting. It's just not my favorite.
Okay. All right. How about you, Colin?
I thought I was going low. I was going to give it like a 3.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say I'd give it a 3. It's not great by any means, but this is not by far not the worst. There are no exploding rocks from spears hitting them. There's no weird cuts so that you don't have to show what's on the bottom half of the screen for some reason. Mm-hmm. There's no technical issues. There's good acting. There's no bad acting. I mean, there's a little bit of overacting, but this is the 60s.
Yeah,
we should
it's
get
not
that.
terrible. Yeah,
it's all pretty good.
Even the scenery is good in this one.
Yeah, even the scenery is good in this one. I mean, other than the weird colors, but I mean, it's another planet. They got to do something.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's not
otherwise,
that bad.
Otherwise, it's just like, look at these, hexagon hallways or whatever. Yeah.
Overall, I think it's a pretty solid episode. I think 3. I guess some of us would say 2.5, but I think it's a good solid 3 stars there. Cullen, if we wanted to listen to Cult Cinema Cavalcade, I said it right twice.
You did. You're some kind of pro.
Where would we find you on social medias to follow you there?
We're on Twitter at CC Cavalcade, and we're also on Facebook. Just look for Cult Cinema Cavalcade. You'll find us right away.
Okay. All right. And you guys are putting out episodes every couple of weeks, watching
Correct.
the worst of the best.
Yes.
Or the best of the worst, whatever.
I guess you have to find out what it is.
All right. Well, next week we are doing This Side of Paradise. It'll just be Shirley and I, and then the week after that, it's another episode. We will have, hopefully, Matthew Peterson and George Shimples back for The Darkness Within, I want to say. That sounds right, but that's probably wrong.
You can just say any kind of vague
sci-fi.
It's like
Kind of name.
Yeah, anything that sounds like a pulpy book. Perfect.
I was close. It's The Devil in the Dark. Darkness Within, Devil in the Dark. Pretty close.
Yeah.
I'm going to claim it. All right. Well, you guys, thanks for listening, and we will talk to you real soon.
And that'll do us tonight for
There Are 4 Lights!
Remember, you can email us at therearefourlightspodcast@gmail.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/nerdsdomain, on Twitter at nerdsdomain, or over at our site, nerdsdom.com. Be sure to sign up for the newsletter while you're there. You can head over to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. A big thanks to 5 Year Mission for their music. You can find them at 5yearmission.net. Don't forget you can support us at patreon.com/nerdsdomain. And check out our shirts at /loot.